All right, let's get started. Don't know how to introduce this thing.
Why?
Welcome to the Garage Talk Podcast, The Last of Us HBO show review, officially. And let's
get this one out of the way first. Spoilers.
Good call.
Spoilers
of the video game.
Yeah.
1 and 2.
1 and 2.
Spoilers of episode 1. We're doing it week by week basis. One's
Yeah.
only been released, so we are spoiling everything in the show. If you have not watched The Last of Us or played it, get out now. Leave. Don't ever come back until you watch it. Until you watch it and finish. Do your business. Do your business. We've talked ad nauseum about the issues that have gone into transferring video games to the screen, whether it's a show or a movie. It's been an issue. I mean, outside of what maybe Arcane has been the only really good adaptation that we've seen of a video game
that I can think of. That's the only one that comes to mind. Which means that if there was another good one, it was forgettable. So
yeah. So coming into this, we were obviously a little nervous, I think. But the good news was that Neil Druckmann, the creator and director of the video game, was involved with the creating of the show. They also had the showrunner, I forget his name, from Chernobyl. And it's on HBO. HBO I think, has a very good track record.
They do a very good job. So far, they rarely miss, that's for sure.
So, yeah, I got really hyped for this last night. I was starting to watch playoff football, and I was like, nah, I gotta watch this show now. So I skipped over and started it, and wow,
I was blown away, man. I was blown away. Like, again, we said that on the last episode that we were gonna try and go in with a
open
blank
mind,
slate,
blank slate,
empty.
Because the fact of the matter is, The Last of Us is one of the greatest video games of all time, and that's like not even really debatable. I don't think.
Yeah, or at least story wise.
Yes, yeah, story wise.
Yeah. So, yeah, they had very large shoes to fill, I think. But so far, this first episode, man, was killer. I thought
so good. I loved the opening scene with like the guys from the 70s talk show or whatever.
Yes,
had some
that was amazing.
Great act, and they pretty much all they were doing is explaining like the
setup, kind of
the setup and kind of like what the game makers were inspired by making the story. I thought it was really cool, and we also got some sweet actors involved there. The brother Jonathan from The Mummy, was that guy. I was like, I haven't seen him since 1999 or whenever that movie came out.
Dude, Brendan Fraser's coming back. That guy's coming back. Let's get them all back.
Yep.
Let's get another Mummy movie. Holy cow!
Absolutely, not the one with Tom Cruise doesn't count.
There was one with Tom Cruise.
Yeah, it was like they tried to reboot it.
Oh my!
It was awful.
Yeah, no kidding.
I didn't see it, so I didn't.
Good. Yeah,
I'm just going with the idea that it was awful. But yeah, open it up great, and everything about the show or this episode I thought was incredible. The casting. Pedro Pascal is knocked it out of the park this episode with Joel.
The guy's acting chops are just insane. Like he has such range, I think. Like
oh yeah, and this definitely shows it too.
Yeah, it's just incredible.
He's I don't know the actor who did Tommy, but they were really good together.
Yeah. Sarah
was great,
amazing, and that's really awesome too, because like obviously I don't know if there's going to be more like kind of flashback scenes, maybe, who knows, because obviously like a few scenes that happened in the show didn't happen in the games, which I'm cool with. Like so far everything that they've kind of added to it has been just chef's kiss. It's been all been good. So maybe they'll add some more stuff with her, because man, I mean, I don't want to get into it too far, but like with Sarah's kind of like a death, like it was like, oh my gosh, like she was such a good actress, like I wanted to see more of Sarah, and so
I hope we get flashbacks, because her chemistry with Pedro Pascal was awesome. Like it really felt like they were a father and daughter. It was awesome, and her interactions with the neighbors and everything was great. That girl's going places.
Yeah, for sure.
The actress is. So yeah, starting off, I knew I was very interested to see the pacing of the episode and kind of how they did that first scene in the game.
Mm-hmm.
And boy, does it hit.
Dude, I even knowing that it's gonna happen, and I've played the game like several times, and I know it's gonna happen every time, and it never gets easier. And even this time, I was like, okay, I know what's happening. I know what's gonna happen, and honestly, it like probably hurt more. I think it hurt more.
Yeah,
for me.
I was weeping. I
Dude,
was crying.
Yeah, I was in tears. I'm getting a little teary-eyed now.
Just thinking about it. It was impressive how well it transferred over to, I would say, the television medium.
Yeah.
I thought the use, because in the video game you're playing as Sarah, going through the motions and sitting in the back of the truck. Well, the way they were able to manipulate the camera while driving around in the truck added just even that much more suspense.
So good, man.
It really put you. I felt more terrified of the situation.
Yeah.
Because of the show, it really puts you in. Not that the video game doesn't, but in this medium, it really.
When there's live action happening, like these are real people and stuff, and yeah, it was incredible.
It really put you in it, and yeah,
I thought that was so cool and if folks who hadn't played the game, they're not gonna really. I don't think they'll get it as much, but like that scene where the camera's like in the truck and all this is happening and stuff, like, man, my head, I was like. That's what happened in the game, and it was like so on par with like how that intensity felt. But yeah, it felt more intense all of a sudden with the show and the drama and stuff like that.
And I want to say, Troy Baker is probably not even debated at this point the best video game actor, voice actor, and performer that we've seen. And I don't want to say anything that's disrespectful, but Pedro Pascal's acting in that scene really elevated it, I think. I mean, where he said, "Tommy, help me."
Yeah.
Like, I was like, "Oh my good," like that just hits so much harder. And maybe it is because it feels more real because it's not a video game animation.
Yeah.
But Pedro really put you in the scene and got you going.
And Sarah, and the actress who played Sarah, I wish I should probably look up her name. She deserved more respect than we're giving her.
Yeah.
But even her acting for that was like, that was intense, man. Like, I remember how intense it was in the game, but like now it's like her face is doing it, and like that very rapid breathing and stuff, and like her like saying "ow," like "no, don't move me" sort of thing. I was like, oh, I was like cringing. I was like, oh my god, I can't do it. I can't do it again.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I had to pause like a couple times because I was just like, this is getting too hard. It gets too hard.
Yeah, Tim said in our group chat, he said he had to take a smoke break, had to turn it off for a second, go
chill to calm the nerves again.
Yeah, and that really just launches you into the show. I honestly thought the first episode would end with that.
Yeah,
going into it, I assumed they were going to
expecting
draw it
that.
out and stuff like that and end it, but no, it takes you right 20 years later straight into the after times, or however you want to call it.
Yeah.
And
Nico Parker is her name too.
Nico Parker. Okay.
Yeah. Shout out to her.
We will
man.
probably see a lot more of her.
I hope so. Holy cow, that was incredible. Anyways, but yeah, I guess we'll move on from that. That was
It really set the scene. I feel like I watched it with Robin, who knows nothing about the games, nothing about the story, didn't know anything about casting. All she knew is that this guy goes on an adventure with a girl in the zombie apocalypse.
Yeah.
So she just like watching Sarah's like, oh yeah, cool. This is it's a father and daughter story, and she was when it hit her hard, and she's like, you knew that was coming, and I was like, yeah.
yeah.
And she's like, why didn't you tell me? And I was like, I'm not gonna tell. I
you
can't
that.
spoil that.
Yeah.
So it takes us right back into and I thought obviously the show had an outrageous budget, and they did a very good job with it because the scene they set in Boston felt very real and very alive. I mean, it absorbed you into the show because you didn't even I literally was suspended from reality
Oh yeah.
because that Boston felt so alive and so real.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, the cinematography, all of the kind of background things that were happening too were just like so. It was incredible. The scene, I don't know why it stuck with me, but that scene where the people were being like a public execution. That
Yeah,
just like blew my mind.
because that wasn't in the game.
Yeah,
That was
and I was like, holy cow, and like you said, I didn't feel like that was out of place at all.
No,
like,
no, no,
with
it
how
fit
they set
perfect.
it up. Yeah, it was it was incredible.
because it set the scene, and it did the video game did a great job of this too. But it's like there's the what do they call the people in charge?
Fedra.
The Fedra, and there's Fireflies.
Mhm.
None of them are really good, honestly.
Yeah,
There's
yeah,
no
there's
good side or bad side. It's just
very morally ambiguous kind of factions that are fighting for
two
control.
different sides of a coin.
Yeah,
Is all
exactly.
it is. I loved the actress who played Tess.
Yeah,
I thought she was awesome.
yeah, she did amazing too.
And maybe you can remind me, the video game, they were a little more ambiguous with Tess and Joel's relationship in the video
Yeah, they
game,
weren't
right?
as
They were just partners.
they seemed more partners.
Yeah,
But I like this.
the show gave it a little more,
They seem definitely more intimate.
because they probably, but I mean, if you think about it, they probably were in the video game.
I imagine so. Like, and I don't even think that was like ruled out. Like, you could
No.
definitely just
Mhm.
assume that they were romantically involved. But yeah, in the show, they kind of pushed that a little bit more. They didn't even actually push it. I would say they just kind of left it more like less up for debate because I mean she comes in and she spoons him and
Yeah.
so you're kind of like, oh okay,
Or was that a dream?
it's a good point. I mean Joel does sleep a lot. It
Well,
seems like
and
he passes out a lot.
Well, he took a lot of pills there and a lot of whiskey.
Man, that would also hurt, man. Like
Yeah, it's visualizing kind of the pain.
yeah, and was Joel a drug runner in the game too? I'm having a hard time remembering if that was his kind of role. I know he just kind of smuggled. A lot
Yeah,
of stuff.
yeah, he was more of just a smuggler. So
Okay.
it's kind of I think there was an offhand comment in the game. So
Maybe,
this
okay.
just kind of
Yeah, yeah.
made
so
it more real,
Mhm.
I guess, so to speak. And then we were introduced to Ellie,
Mhm.
played by Bella Ramsey, and
That was your kind of big question mark. So how do you feel about it?
I
So
feel
far?
I feel much better.
Okay.
I feel much better. I thought she did a good job. I'm not sold 100% yet
That's fair.
because Ashley Johnson's performance in the video game, like, I mean, Ellie's one of probably top 3 favorite video game characters for me personally. I love Ellie. So she had the actress here had very, very large shoes
Yeah.
to fill, at least in my
Right,
my eyes. Not
exactly.
that my opinion matters, but yeah, the opening scene with her where she kicked the tray, I was like, yes, I'm in. I love it.
Yeah.
she's
oh,
great.
yeah. Just being a little shit.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah, it was great.
So it's going to be highly dependent on her chemistry with Pedro Pascal, in which the little that we've seen so far, I think it's gonna be great.
Yeah. The clashing so far has looked believable, and like I said, just very reminiscent of the game, like where they just when they first meet, it's very just they clash. hard.
She's just a job for him, and
Yeah.
she doesn't want to be a job
right.
for somebody.
Well, and he's like, he couldn't live through losing another.
No,
kid, right? Like,
yeah, he's completely closed himself off.
Yeah, he couldn't. And then Tommy obviously is kind of like his main focus too. Like his brother's lost somewhere. or
Now
he thinks-
that's not really in the game, is it?
Kinda. Well, no, yeah, you're right. I don't think that was the case.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
At least
Man, I have to replay the game.
I planned on doing it beforehand, and I
Yeah.
just never got around to it. But
Yeah.
yeah, in the video game, when Tommy doesn't show up until later, but it was
I think it was when they were like passing through Wyoming.
yeah, it
or
wasn't
something
it
like-
wasn't a focus of Joel's.
Yeah. Why were they going through Wyoming
We'll find out in the show.
this time? Well, no, in the game, I'm wondering why. Why they went through Wyoming? Why he needed to go see Tommy?
I don't remember. Yeah, it's been a while.
Anyways,
So that was good. The lady who plays Marlene, I thought was awesome. Turns out she's the actual
voice
voice actor.
actress,
I had
yeah.
no idea
Yeah.
until after that.
and there was it's so funny.
Somebody tweeted it.
12 years later, and I saw I don't know if you stuck around and watched like the little after episode kind of
I didn't know.
behind the scenes
I
sort of
should
stuff.
have.
Yeah, no, I highly recommend those because they interview her about it, and so she was saying, she's like, yeah, you know, my first experience with Marlene as a character was about 12 years ago or whatever it was, and she's like, because I got to play her in the video game and stuff, and she's like, I never thought I was gonna be able to get the role as like playing her, because it's a totally different medium. Before, like the video game artists can kind of just make Marlene, they can create her however they picture her, and then you kind of voice that and you try to bring her to life, where this is like, now you're in the front of the camera, now like your whole being has to bring this character to life. And so you could tell she really took it seriously, and I thought she nailed it too. She did great.
Yeah, I saw her walk in, and I was like, oh, that was perfect casting.
Dude, it was
and
so
then it's like,
good.
oh, yeah,
great.
Makes sense. It's all clear. So, yeah, the show set the stage. I like the kind of his drug deal guy they kind of added in. I thought that fit really well with the story. And it's things like that I think there gives, I guess, so much hope to the show, is that they add in these little characters that aren't in the games, but they contribute so well to the story and make, coming across that guard once you escape the city, even that more impactful than it is in the game.
Right.
And so I'm very excited to see, what they do going forward with more characters, and especially with Tess and Joel in the, the first half of this season.
Tess and Joel, and then
it's going to be very intense.
Yeah. I guess I don't want to spoil anything for. Oh yeah, we already said we were going to spoil the other parts.
The games, yeah.
Yeah. So. Yeah, because there's other.
Maybe we shouldn't.
That's what I was thinking. There's some more characters that are coming that I'm excited to see.
Yes.
What's gonna like a few of them have kind of gotten little glimpses in the trailers and stuff.
Okay, good call. Let's not spoil anything from the games.
Yeah.
Going forward.
Right.
Not that we have yet, but.
But I think it was a good catch on our part.
Yes.
Shout out us.
So we're looking out for all the viewers here. We have everybody in mind.
Yeah. I don't know, like, Sarah really captivated me. I don't know what it was. The whole like opening sequence, though, like, not to go back, but I just loved every moment of that. That was amazing.
It was.
Like, they gave her so much depth, more depth than the games could really give her. They didn't really have time, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that just made it even harder when they like that death scene. I was like, oh. I almost got mad at the show because, like, when she was going through Joel's stuff, like, she opened the drawer and was like opening the money and stuff. I was like, are they gonna make Sarah like
a little thief,
a bitch?
No,
I was like, no fucking way. And then I was like, oh, she's just.
Yeah.
I mean,
there actually is a line in the game where she says, he's like, where'd you get the money for that? She's like, oh, I took it from your drawer.
You're right, yeah. But I'm just saying, like, we didn't get to see that, And so, like, at first I was kind of mad. I was like, no, like, and then the scene was like, oh, of course, dummy. But
I'm actually still worried, because I don't really trust myself as a viewer, because of watching this, really knowing the story and knowing the big, I guess, plot points.
Mm-hmm.
Like, was the pacing good? It felt good.
I loved it,
but I'm already so invested into the story, and I know it so well.
Mm-hmm.
I just wasn't sure if I'm just being, if it's ignorant bliss, or if the pacing was really well done for an episode of a show.
I think this time around it was. I guess I would need somebody input from somebody who maybe hasn't played the game. I guess I thought it was a really good job. Like,
yeah, I asked Robin because I was like, I don't know if I'm. She thought it was great, but
yeah.
I usually don't hold her opinions in the highest of regards when it comes to film and television.
Yeah, that's fair.
She doesn't have the critic eye that I do.
Right. Yeah. But hey, she can enjoy it for what it is, then, I guess. So I liked it a lot, man. And
it was long. I actually enjoyed it. It was an hour 15.
Something like that, yeah.
But
it was incredible.
Give me a movie every single episode.
Right. It was incredible, though, that how they were able to pace a whole episode like that, where, you have this huge climax with, Sarah's death, or I guess I should say that whole, like, kind of build up, the crescendo, with, her kind of waking up by herself, and then you have this whole build up, and you're like, oh my gosh, and then the climax of her dying, and then, now we have to go back down, and now we're 20 years in the future, and then we had that build up again. I just thought they did such a good job being able to kind of pace that out throughout an hour and 15 minutes. I thought they did a very good job, at least. So, yeah.
Good. I'm glad I'm not just a fool. The little we did see of the clickers was terrifying.
Awful. The old
lady.
oh my god! I was like, ugh.
Did you see her in the background when she was spazzing out? I was like, oh no. I was like, are they doing this now? Are they starting this now?
Yeah, I was like, and then the dogs like kind of like doing little sounds like, sort of like kind of whining.
Yeah,
and
that
stuff.
that was intense when the dog was just staring at her when she left. I was like, oh.
And Sarah's like, what the hell's wrong? And which like we know like dogs have like can smell like certain diseases. Like we know dogs
They have an extra sense.
Been able to smell like smell cancer and stuff in people. So yeah, that was. And Sarah knowing something was off with that, and because again they kind of give you this little bit of setup in the beginning when they hear about it was Indonesia's capital. I can't remember.
Yeah, nobody knew.
Jakarta.
Yeah, there it is. There it is. Yeah.
And yeah, it's saying like, oh, there's something happening in Jakarta and stuff, and they're kind of like, man, where's that? And she saw that, and she was kind. I in my mind, I was like, she's a smart kid, and she was kind of like, oh, this is weird. And then we get more of that too, and they're in the truck running away. They're like, how do we know we're not sick already, sort of thing. And I was like, oh, it's awful. Like I hate when like kids feel helpless and their parents can't really do much to help that. Oh, it's awful.
Oh, so you must have been terrified when he got the call to bail out Tommy.
Right.
Because that's not in the game.
I know. I was like,
when I saw him leave, I'm like, well, I was like, nope, that's not in the game. You can't do that.
Yeah. And then she's like, and then she left the house. I was like, what is happening?
Don't do that.
Don't
Get back in the house.
Don't. Yeah. And she comes in. There's blood on the floor. I'm like, well, that's where you stop and turn back around, Sarah. And then she just kept going. I was like, and yeah, then it was awful. The old lady with the weird, nasty things come out of her mouth. I was like, oh, that was awful. And then the scene with Joel, like having to crack an old lady in the face with a monkey wrench right in front of his daughter. That was incredible.
That was probably for people
intense,
who
dude.
were just coming into this went, oh,
this
so that's how this show
is. This is a mature show. Yeah, don't get it twisted. Like, yeah.
The guy who was chasing him in the city too, when they were trying to escape.
Yeah, that was
flying over the counter and stuff. Like this show is gonna be terrifying.
Yeah,
they definitely had the horror aspect, and
God.
it was great.
It's just like there's just so many moments I'm recalling from the video games. I'm just like,
oh, I'm so excited for the next episode because where this ends,
dude.
He's going right into the dark city, the abandoned area of the city. I
honestly thought when they were gonna go into the subway area, I was like, oh my God. And I mean, we kind of got like the end of a clicker's life, right?
Mm-hmm.
That was awful. I was like, oh my gosh. They did such a good job. Whoever, I don't know how much of that was CGI and how much of it was actually like
it looked amazing.
Up. Yeah, they did a
plastered
great
against
job.
the wall.
Yeah.
I think this show's definitely going to match the horror aspect that the game has.
Yeah.
And I'm liking it so far.
So far, man. Yeah, I don't know. I love the game. They're completely separate mediums, right? So, but the show has had me like, I feel more invested in the show right now than I think I did in the games.
Mm-hmm.
And that's saying a lot for me because normally like games really, really grasp me because I'm the one in control. I get to control the character. And this one, you're just kind of like there for the ride.
Mm-hmm. I will be
invested.
I'm very interested to see because I will agree with you at this aspect of the story from the game to the show. The show definitely has me more invested.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm thinking of points that happen within the game later on where I would argue with you because there are points in the game where I go like during a cutscene. Get me in control because I got to do something here right now.
Right, I know.
So I will be interested to see once we get a little bit further on in the season how that does compare.
Yeah, but again, we got to still try though. Take every episode with an open mind.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
Even though we know exactly what's happening.
Oh no, there's no more open-mindedness from me. This show's incredible.
Yeah,
it's the best show ever.
Yeah,
not yet. But Game of Thrones has a lot. That has
as far as first episodes go, man, like that one's hard to beat. I can't think of another show that had a first episode quite like that though.
I've talked about this on this podcast pretty frequently. I love having a week in between episodes and stuff. I like for it to
I hate
kind
it.
of fester, and I like the ability to talk
Might
to
have
people about
rewatch
it and stuff.
again tonight.
I want this entire season right now.
I know, dude.
Like
I
it
know.
ended. I'm like, oh, please tell me they did like a double episode release or something. I went and it was only episode 1. I'm like, damn it, because knowing right where it left off going into the city.
I
like,
needed
give me more.
maybe that is my not being able to come in with an open mind because I know the kind of series of events that are going to happen. I was like, I need to see how they do this next. I need to see how they do this next. Keep them coming, and then you're just like, I have to wait till next Sunday.
Yeah, this is definitely going to test our patience.
Oh,
I would
man.
say.
Oh, it's awful. I'm gonna have to rewatch that first episode though.
I
might have to skip the first bit. I don't know if I could keep crying like that.
I don't know if I can emotionally handle.
Dude, it's bad. It's bad.
And if you aren't if you haven't played the game, you're just watching the show. So many more emotional. Like that was just the beginning, and that's what I told Robin too. She's like, "Oh my gosh, that was terrible." I was like, "Yeah, we're just getting started."
Yeah, and that was like in the game. There was no. It didn't feel like there wasn't that build up for it. It happened so fast. You're just like punched in the face all of a sudden with this incredible, just emotional gut punch, just at it right away. And you're like, what? And then that just like set.
Yeah,
like,
this story definitely does benefit from television in the sense of when you first play the game and you know there's a guy and a little girl on the cover of the game. That's you're playing, but you're kind of just walking around. You're kind of exploring the world, seeing what it is, and you just kind of get it, and you start going, and then bang, it happens. This show, in the television medium, it definitely had the time for us to. I don't want to keep saying invest, but it gave us time to get attached to Sarah. I mean, the time that you normally spend getting, a first episode of any show is you're just getting to know the character. That's like,
and Sarah was such a likable character too.
Yeah, so it was the perfect. They did a great job of setting up and then giving you the twist in a different way.
Just throwing a haymaker at you. Man, I can't get over that scene.
I don't know if my emotions.
I hate to keep bringing it up, but
I don't know if my emotions are going to be able to handle this whole show.
Imagine when they have to do the season 2 of this.
Oh my gosh!
It's just I might have to watch that with you if they do season 2 follows the second game. I might have to watch that one with you.
There's just going to be, I'm just going to be a mess.
Mascara
for the next 10 weeks. My makeup's going to be running. I'm going to be crying, and it's going to be awful.
Yeah, I'm just excited that it landed, man, and it landed a perfect 10 out of 10 for me. I don't think there was anything better. Like, I don't think they could have gotten it better.
I have zero complaints on this episode. I can't look at something and say, well, maybe they could have done this, maybe something else should happen. No, this was a television show that has the time, love, effort, and care that went into the game, which made it so great, and we're seeing it on the screen. And everyone who ever adapts anything to any sort of medium needs to take notes.
Seriously.
Watch this, play the game, watch the show, and just see.
It can't just be a cash grab, man.
No.
Like, if you want to make something, like, if you're a real artist, I guess, like, everybody wants to make money, right? But if you want to be a real artist and you want to make something memorable and
powerful
things that people are going to make stupid podcasts about all the time, like.
Hey, this podcast isn't stupid, Vince.
Put that time and effort in, man, and especially if like for these video game adaptations, if it's a really good game, you need to get people who worked on the game in the studio with you.
Mm-hmm.
You need to give them some control to help you direct how this show's gonna go, because I mean we've seen it. Like, it works. It works so good. Arcane did really well, and I know they had a lot of people from the League of Legends story people helping them with it. And now we have Last of Us, and again, I can't think of a better first episode of just a television show, honestly. And maybe obviously that's just recency bias, but seriously, like, it's so good.
Yeah, it's up there with Game of Thrones episode 1 for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably better. Yeah, that was
honestly, it just had me. It had me from start to finish. I couldn't look away. I have a real problem sometimes with like picking up my phone and maybe like scrolling Twitter for a couple minutes in between kind of, action
Yeah,
sequences.
yeah.
Not this time.
No, all in.
Everything. So,
Yeah, I'm looking forward to episode 2 and seeing the relationships on screen develop.
yeah.
And it's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, I can't wait to see more of Ellie.
Yeah.
'Cause obviously, she's one of the main characters, right? And so, yeah, see when I finally get to see Joel and her get more chemistry and stuff, it's going to be a lot of fun to see.
I do. Before we go, I want to give one shout out to Neil Druckmann, who was the creator of the game, because he started out, making as a just kind of a game designer and stuff, and then he got his opportunity to pitch an idea and become a leader and a story designer and stuff. Got this chance, made this incredible game, and now he's, such an artistic vision, creative vision, and now for him to do this on HBO on this sort of platform with even more viewers, that's incredible. He's done an amazing job.
Yeah, Naughty Dog, maybe stick to television shows and keep away from the movies, because Uncharted wasn't very good adaptation. Also, I don't know how many. I'd have to look to see if they had any of the writers on for the movie.
I don't think they did.
I mean, I can't. It sure didn't show. That's for sure. Did not seem that way. So, Naughty Dog, like you guys know.
Like I said, we got to get some money.
Right,
That was some money.
That was their cash grab.
They needed some funding for the show.
That's what it was. Okay. You know what? I forgive you.
Yep.
It works. It works.
We're gonna go with that. That's just
Yeah,
it's canon
Yeah.
for life now.
Yep.
We got anything else to say?
Sorry I had to keep bringing up Sarah.
That's
all I can
okay.
say. She was my favorite character that I'm glad got more kind of development outside from the game,
Yeah.
So,
Yep. Excited to see more.
yeah.
So yeah,
I'm gonna go bed until next Sunday. So
wake me up on Sundays. That's
Yeah,
it.
Exactly.
We'll get up for the show and go back to bed.
Yep.
Crying.
Cry. There's gonna be a lot of crying in this. I can already tell. It's gonna be awful.
Yeah, I still can't believe knowing such a huge twist is coming and still being just emotionally wrecked from that.
Yeah.
Shout out to them. So yeah, tune in next Monday too. We'll do this every Monday night for the rest of Last of Us Season 1.
That's how much we love you guys.
So much we love you.
It's actually how much we like talking about.
We just like
this
getting
stuff.
together and talk about this. So. All right, man.
Till next time.
Till next week. We got to give it a little bit of a buffer.
Okay. Oh boy.
Say squish real quick.
Squish.
I don't know how long it takes for the stream to cut off. I really want the listeners and the viewers to be able to see the ending. I don't want to be cut off mid